Okay, guys. Um, now there was one other thing that I wanted to touch upon, and I think it's quite important for the newbies to you to understand this, and that is when I was so this was my first page, and as you know, I have modified some of these titles and things like that, and done a video on explaining you how a few things are done. But then now we want to move forward from there, and what we want to do is be able to allow the users to create a new quiz, right, to create a new quiz. And so for that, what I decided to do was I have these default text over here which says heading and all. So I changed that heading and I added a few lines of text. It's very simple. And how do you do that? You do that by uh, going into your index.php, which is located. So I'll tell you where it is. It is in the under your views, and click on site because it's a site controller, right? And there you go to index.php, and this is where it is. So if you can see here in three simple steps, add new quiz details, and so this is exactly the same thing. And then then there's a link over here, and I've changed the link to read create new quiz, right? Create new quiz is create new quiz over here, and the rest of the page is same. Right now, one thing that you would notice when you see this entire code in this page, right, is that there is nowhere you have this menu. There is no home, there's no about, there's no uh, my application and things like that. This is just the title of the application. This is not the menu link, right? So where does all of that stuff come from, right? And it's very important for us to know in case you want to change your menu, because obviously you are going to change this in future. You are going to change these links. They're not going to remain the same. You will change these colors and things like that. So how all that happens? Now for that, what I did was I did some reading of the Yi web the definitive guide, which is on the Yi framework website. And I think this some of the documentation is really good, and I had to of course go from the beginning, but I realized that there's some really good information under this link, which is views. So what I'm going to do is read the very important part of this, which will make things instantly clear. But I think a lot of places it's not mentioned that clearly, right? So as you see, the layout generates HTML tags. Now what is this layout thing? Okay, what is layout? So if you see here, there is a under views you find a layouts folder. Under layouts there is a main, and if you see this main, you see that there is if you see here, there is this nav bar, right? List, and then you see this home, about, contact, right? And these are the exact same things. So maybe this has got something to do, but this whole thing figures nowhere in the index.php. So how does this whole thing come into picture? And that's what you will learn here. As you can see, the layout, which is that layout page that we talked about, generates HTML tags, which are the HTML tags that you saw, that are common to all pages, right? Within the body section, the layout echoes $content variable, which represents the rendering result of content views, right? And is pushed into the layout when this render function is called. So if you see, if you look for content, there is a content over here, right? This is $content. This, what he's trying to say is, this is where your index.php goes in. This is where it goes in, and the rest of the page remains the main.php, but that content gets pushed here. And let's see again the function that he's saying when the Yi-based controller render is called. Now where is this render coming from? This render controller method is actually coming from another page, which is your site controller. It's under controllers, and if you see action index, that is the action that is called, right? when you go to the index page. So what it says is return action index. This is what gets called when you request the index page, and what it does is it returns this render index. So when you are, in short, this is the render method that he's talking about. This is the render method. When this method is called, when this render method is called, it actually it actually generates the content which is in the main layout, main.php, that we just saw. And within that main.php, in the content tag, the stuff that you have in your index.php gets pushed out. It gets sandwiched within those tags, and it's then rendered on your home page.